You know, you could play this. But wouldn't you rather play this? My name's Adam Maness, and today's video, we're talking all about how to get those beautiful, beautiful sounding chords. And to get those chords, we're gonna need a Moo chord. But what is a Moo chord? We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about the classic Moo chord made famous by Steely Dan. And we're gonna talk about that Moo variation that makes these incredible passing chords and really makes a bright, beautiful sound in our chord progressions. Now, you're gonna wanna get the PDF here in the description so you can follow along and you can come back to later. That's yours to keep, that's free, that's for you. And don't forget that today's session is brought to you by Open Studio. Go to openstudiojazz.com for all your jazz lesson needs. You can start your free trial today. That's openstudiojazz.com to start your free trial. We're gonna talk about the Moo chord from below, from above, replacing majors, and a special bonus use of the Moo chord that Peter Martin loves. In fact, it's a whole new chord. So you're going to want to stick around in the end to hear that whole new chord because it's kind of crazy. There's a lot of functions with these chords, but before we get to the functions, let's talk about what they actually are. So we're going to start with Donald Fagen and Walter Becker and their famous Mu major chord. So they didn't invent this chord. This chord has been around longer than Steely Dan, of course, but they did coin it the Moo major. Now, it's a very simple sound. And by the way, we're going to be talking about a lot of silly names for these chords. All names are made up. None of it matters. Make up your own names. You can do that. I don't know if you knew that, but you have permission to do that. So the Mu major, according to Steely Dan, is just a simple major triad with that added 2 there so that you get this nice rub between the 2 and the 3. So here are the 2 different inversions that we're going to be talking about. Here at Open Studio, we just call these the Moo majors. We just shorthand them the Moo majors because you could call them the Mu major first inversion or Mu major drop 2, Mu major drop 3. But that's a mouthful. And we like to make up stupid names for chords around here. I don't know if you knew that. But we call both of these the Moo major, moo like the cow. And they're the same 4 notes, right? Root, 2, 3, 5, but in different orders. So our first inversion here is the 3rd, the root, the 2, and the 5. Get a nice rub there between the C and the D. And in this inversion, which is very popular, especially with Steely Dan, you got the 3rd, the 2nd, the 5th, and the root on top, which creates a really open, glassy sound. And so anytime there's the 3rd in the bass of a Moo chord, we just call it a Moo chord as shorthand here. And that includes both of these different inversions.
Hey, what's up? I'm just here practicing my Moo chords. Adam is doing a great job of explaining this, and indeed he has a PDF that you can download. But in case you're inundated with PDFs and you want to jump right to the front of the line, check out happypracticing.com for an exclusive free trial. You can go right to Adam's course called Harmony Games or wherever you want and go on a deep dive of Moo, Mu, and, wait for it, meow chords. Back to the lesson.
Now, you've heard these inversions in a million songs. They're just all over the place, and they're so handy in all different kinds of contexts. The most widely used context for the Moo major is to replace a dominant chord in this sort of 5-1 cadence. So you might have heard this cadence before, G7 to C. Anytime you have that 5-1 dominant movement, you can replace that 7th chord with one of our Moo majors, with the 3rd in the bass. It gets us this half-step chromatic movement upwards, right? From the 3rd in the bass of the G, add 2, to the C. Now notice I've got the 3rd, the root, the 2nd, and the 5th, right? It's just like that first version of the Moo major going to the C. And we can use that other inversion with the 3rd, the 2nd, the 5th, and the root on top, going to C. Listen to the difference between the dominant and the Moo. Functionally very similar, but the voice leading on that Moo is a little bit brighter, a little bit more angular, a little bit more modern sounding than that very classical, churchy sounding dominant. So that's where we're starting. Now, check out how we can use this in real time. Here's a very basic chord progression using a bunch of our old school dominant chords. So C to E7, that's a secondary dominant going to A minor, C7 to F, A7 to D minor 7, and a G7 to C. Right? right? Just a bunch of secondary dominants and our primary dominant there at the end, getting around a very basic chord progression. Now we can replace every single one of those dominant 7th chords with our Moo major chord, with that Moo chord, that Mu chord, sorry, with the 3rd and the bass. Check this out. It's the primary way you're going to want to use these things. It's got that slick half-step motion in the bass, but it's not like a diminished chord where it feels very boxy and closed in and dramatic. It feels very cool and like I don't really care. I'm just here for the party. Isn't that great? Listen to the difference again. So here's our dominant. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. It sounds great. Here's the same chord progression, replacing those dominants with the Moo majors, 3rd and the bass. You can roll them. Isn't that awesome? That is the most incredible way to use those Moo majors. Let's check out the next way to use it. The next way to use it is very similar. We're still going to use it as a passing chord, but instead of using the move from a half step below, we're going to use the move from a half step above. This is a little bit more rare, but this is a pro level move here. You get some amazing voice leading. So if we're heading to a C major, we're going to use that A add 2 over C sharp, that A Moo major going to C sharp. Look at how this looks. Look at how this listens. Listen to how this sounds on a very basic chord progression. We've got a 1, 4, 5, 1 in the key of C major. What if we add a move from above to every single one of those chords? So we're going to add a D add 2 over F sharp to the F, an E add 2 over G sharp to the G. Now we're going to do our classic from below back to C. We could do the A over C sharp, but I like the mix of them. The mix of them sounds really good, using some from above, some from below. But check this out. The voice leading on these really works, right? You have this, because you have that E natural, that add 2 on a D major chord, you can resolve that up to F. And because you have that F sharp, you can resolve that down to F major, right? And our A stays the same, oblique motion there, and the D, the root, moves down a whole step to the C. Gorgeous, just gorgeous. Our final use of the Moo major chord is replacing any regular major chord. So here we've got a C major here. We can replace it with the C add 2 over E at any time. We can really do this anywhere. Here's a basic chord progression using an F major chord, a G major chord, and an A major chord. This is a very common lift of major chords, a sequence of major chords in whole steps. You hear this all the time. You can replace those or substitute those with our Moo majors, right? Our F Moo major, G Moo major, and A Moo major. Those 3rds and the basses sound amazing. You can literally do this just anywhere you have major chords, and it sounds great. It could be also great for voicings. Even if the bass player is playing F, you can use the Moo major voicing as your voicing and have the bass cover the rest. It's really, really brilliant. Now, here's the bonus. Here's Peter Martin's version of this Moo major, especially over major chords like this. He calls it the meow, and I'm sorry about that, but we, like I said, love to name things in a silly way here at Open Studio, a way that makes us laugh, makes us giggle, and really makes us remember it. So he'll just take a regular Moo major and add that major 7th to the top of it. And he calls it the meow. Because he's Peter Martin. And these sound amazing. These are obviously a little bit brighter. Now we're calling these the C major 9 over E. Once there's a 7th in play, to me that D becomes the 9. We can use these in the same way. Here's that same chord progression, F major, G major, A major. We add those major 7ths on top. And again, you have any major 7 chords. Adding these Moo major shapes to them is so incredible. Real hack to getting a bright, clean sound on your Moo chords. Well, there it is. Those are the Moo major chords. Again, if we look at where we started at that Steely Dan Moo chord, just that simple C add 2. And we can turn those into the inversions, the Moo major drop 2 and the Moo major drop 3, which we call the Moo major here, and all of those different uses for them. Just incredible. Again, download that PDF. That's yours to take with you. Go to openstudiojazz.com to start your free trial today. And I'll be back next time. Until then, happy practicing.